The Jersey Shore Public Relations and Advertising Association presents Kenneth Hitchner, Marketing Plans for 2014. This program was recorded January 28, 2014 at Monmouth University in West Long Branch, New Jersey. Introducing the program is Nicole Frame, president of Jasper.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Good. Well, welcome. Welcome to our kickoff event for 2014 for Jasper. Thank you all for being here. I see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd, and I see some new faces as well, so thank you. I'm Nicole Frame. I'm this year's Jasper president. And in my 9-to-5 job, well, actually, it's really not that because I'm in events industry. I'm the assistant director of conference event services here at Monmouth University. So on behalf of the university, I'd like to welcome you. I don't want to take up a lot of your time this morning. I kind of want to get right to why we're here. But first, traditionally at our meetings, we go around the room and we allow each of our attendees to stand up and introduce themselves. That way we get to know who's here and make some connections and networking. So I'm going to go right ahead and start doing that. If we want to start this table here, we'll just go around the room quickly, introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from.
My name is Brittany Callie. I work with M Studio in Asbury Park. It's a communications, public relations, and branding firm.
I'm Erin Boyle. I'm with the American Heart Association, and I'm the communications specialist.
I'm Courtney Nelson. I'm also with the Heart Association and Stroke Association.
I'm Charlie Bruns of Charles Anthony Communication of Long Branch. I'm a consultant, writer, and an adjunct professor right here at Monmouth.
Marie Valentina, Creative Services Director for Waterford, Wedgwood, Royal Dalton, Oliver. I'll take that a bunch of times. And new board member for Jasper.
Kendra O'Connor, it's my first meeting. I'm a freelance writer and producer, video production and content writing.
Bob Dewar, President, O2 Marketing Communications, Advertising, Marketing, Graphic Design.
Mike Elbrecht, I have a company called Landing Marketing Shop in Ocean Township. I provide consultancy as well as services in the digital and online space, which includes social, search, mobile, and getting into marketing automation consulting.
My name is Greg Weber. I own Garden State Press Clipping. We're a full-service media monitoring company. We monitor the web, traditional print, TV, radio, and I'm Jasper Ambassador.
How you doing? My name is Brian Messliner. I'm a web developer and owner of the web development company. I'm a Jasper board member, author, public speaker, and I like to do all things internet.
Hi, Sarah Sorelli. I am with Witham Smith & Brown Certified Public Accounting Consultants. I'm one of their marketing managers there. I handle a lot of the digital, online, and internet marketing, all that good stuff. Do a ton of public speaking. Teach Zumba, totally the same thing. Also do I'm a nutritional cleansing coach and immediate past president of Jasper. So welcome, first meeting, it's exciting. And call new board, so excited. Okay. That's all I got for you. Have a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee, sorry.
I do not. I'm Matt Appel, Axe Advisors. I'm usually the only finance guy in the room. But I love these events. I love breaking comes and looking forward to hearing our speaker.
I'm Marianne Blackburn. I'm an account director at O'Reilly Palma, PR and marketing communications firm, as a Jasper board member. And I also have a marketing consulting business of my own, Blackburn Marketing Associates. And I help B2B and B2C companies develop and execute marketing strategy plans. Again, Marianne Blackburn.
Hi, I'm Karen Coviello. I also work for Witham Smith & Brown with Sarah. I do marketing and PR for the firm, and I'm based out of our Red Bank and Tom's River offices.
I'm Geraldine Velasquez. I'm a professor of art and design of a brand new great major at Georgian Court, which is graphic design and multimedia, part of the communications graphic design multimedia department. We have a whole new vision, we have great new students, and we place interns, and we are going to run a big conference program spring 2015, and I've been a long time off and on member of Jasper, and I mean long term. And I'm here for this organization because I want to involve all of you in the panel and in the exhibition next spring. So come and talk to me.
Suzanne Stingo. I'm a social media strategist and a LinkedIn coach. I'm giving a LinkedIn class at the Asbury Park Business Development Center on Thursday morning if anybody's interested. But I'm here on behalf of Custom Video Productions. Frank Farrell was out doing a shoot in Florida. And Custom Video Productions is a video production company that has a new technology, a quadcopter that can shoot over buildings, through buildings. Very, very exciting stuff. So come talk to me, come talk to Frank. I do Frank's social media marketing.
I'm Heather Casamano. I do marketing for a company called CSAV Systems in Colts Neck, and we do audio and visual for commercial.
Hi, I'm Nicole Andretta. I'm from First Financial Federal Credit Union over in Wall. I'm the e-marketing specialist there, and I handle the PR, marketing, social media, and graphic design.
And I'm Jessica Moore. I'm the marketing director at First Financial Federal Credit Union, and also a new board member of Jasper.
And back here behind the cameras, I'm Steve Lubetkin from Lubetkin Media Companies. We're a documentary video and audio producer for people who want web content in audio and video format. We're on the web at lubetkin.net.
Great, so everybody knows who everybody is now. Without further ado, I just want to get right into our program and wanted to present our presenter. He's currently the Chief Content Officer and Executive Director of the Professional Services Group of Central New Jersey. Ken has offered his services to come and speak to us today, and we're really pleased and thankful that he's done so. A little bit about Ken. He knows how to make people and their brands look good by solving their problems. He understands that all organizations are selling an experience to their stakeholders, and he realizes that less is more and more can be done together than apart, which I really like. He believes gifted people have an obligation to give more time and talent to help others, and his entire communications career revolves around three constants: real people, real stories, and real results. So without further ado, Ken Hitchner.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out this morning. I appreciate that. What I'd like you to do is, what I'd like to provide you today, offer you, is a different perspective on public relations and your marketing communications plans for 2014. Before I get into it, because I have 4 items I want you to leave this room with today for your plan, I'd like to at least tell you a little bit about my background, because it's a little bit non-traditional. I learned most of my PR experience as a journalist in the newsroom. So I kind of learned PR from the other side of the fence. I worked 12 years for several Gannett-owned newspapers in New Jersey, and reporter, news, sports, business. Then I jumped the fence and became actually a member of the PR and communications community. So a couple quick notes, really a disclosure. I don't believe PR stands for public relations. At least that's not the way I see it, that's not the way I practice it. I believe PR stands for problem resolution. And that's because no one's ever paid me to relate to anybody. But people continue to pay me to solve their problems. Kind of weird. So there's really only 3 things I do. One is I build and maintain relationships. Second thing is I change people's minds. And third, I change people's behaviors. That's why I've been in the private sector, the public sector, politics, now nonprofits. I'm here to share with you a few of my strategies that have worked, no matter what space I've been in. So if we could, oh, excellent. So before I get into the 4 items I'd like, excuse me, to take away from this meeting, I'd like to talk about a couple high-level changes, opportunities I'm seeing in 2014. One is the internet era, which we've been in for the last 15 to 16 years, it continues to evolve and change. I'm happy to say that it's becoming more human, and I'm pointing to changes like new algorithms put out by Google last year, the Hummingbird algorithm, excuse me. Changes made by Twitter. They've banned a lot of automation. Tweet attack, Tweet Adder, those kinds of automated programs. Now they force you to actually connect with your audience and do it the old-fashioned way. So I really see the internet era is becoming more human. Now, I like to think of social media in PR as this toy. And I always think of this my childhood days, you know, when you get the toy around the holidays and you're really excited and you're fixated about it, right? And then everything else falls to the side. But at some point, and this is where we're going in 2014, you still like the toy, but now it's like, what's next? So I think the second component we're seeing is we're going to see social media become, number one, not only more social, because I think you could up until this point argue that it's anti-social media. I think you're going to see it become more social, and social media for the first time since it's been around, since it went mainstream, say in 1998, it's going to be seen as what it is. Social media and its channels are tools. They're not actually destinations, right? So you should be using these things to help advance your own brand, your company's brands, but they're not really places where you should just go and just stay, right? That's not really human communications. That's something else. And it really gets to the question, why do people really go online in the first place? And I'm going to tell you, the real reason, most people don't know this, but they're going to figure it out come 2014, the rest of this year. The real reason people go online is so they can go offline. Remember, if you remember back in the 90s when they kind of sold us the whole internet thing, man, this thing is going to bring everybody together, right? We're all going to be working together, collaborating together. I'm not really sure that's happened yet, but I think it's going to start happening a lot more in 2014. I'm very excited about that. So I think that we're going to take a different look at things, and we've already started taking a different look at definitions, for example, selling. From a PR perspective, remember, there's two ways you can go about it. You can tell someone or you can sell someone. So I'll give you an example. And this all gets to the point where you have to separate yourself from the competition when you're out there promoting yourself and your brand. In December, I was at an annual conference for nonprofits. And before the guest speaker got up, he says, I want everyone in the audience to go around the room and I want you to tell me who you are and what you do. You know, tell me the name of your company, your brand. And so there's about 15 people. I was like in the middle, and there's about 15 people. They said, you know, this is my name, and this is my brand, and blah, blah, blah. And when it got to me, I said, you know, my name is Ken Hitchner. I said, I'm executive director of a nonprofit called the Professional Service Group of Central New Jersey. And what we do is we put one downsized professional back in the workplace every 60 hours. And at that time, everyone in the room turned to me and said, ooh. Nobody else. There was 30 people in the room, and I'm the only one that got that response. Why? Because in one sentence, not only did I tell them who I am, what my company does, but I told them how well we do it. One sentence, okay? That's selling, not telling. I could have just said, well, you know, we're a nonprofit and we help people who are unemployed. That's it. You got to know that to separate yourself from the rest. Selling. Let's talk about selling itself. What is it? The internet has kind of done away with the old traditional gatekeepers, right? Before you'd have to come to me if you wanted certain information about business. Now you can just go around me. So how am I going to win you over now? I have to help you. Helping is the new selling. So when you create your content in 2014, make sure you're helping your customers and your constituents. And of course, make it compelling. People tell me all the time, you know, Ken, attention spans are dwindling, and it's true. But my experience, people will make time if you give them something compelling. And that means add some kind of human interest angle. People will take time to open it up and read it. Oh, and the other thing, just look, all this stuff about what's new, killer apps and stuff, the new killer app is the old killer app, email. That is the gold standard. Once you have access to someone's inbox, that's what it's all about. And again, we're getting down to people and we're keeping it human. Item number 1, 4 takeaways I want you to leave the room with today. Number 1, I want you to leave with a strategy, okay? I know this sounds old. There's nothing new here, right? I can tell you, when I ask practitioners in the PR and communications what their strategy is, they tell me our strategy is to get the job done. That's our strategy. It's not a strategy. Let me give you, again, strategy is kind of this thing, you know. Let me tell you my definition of strategy. Strategy is this. An average person, when they take on a task, they begin at the beginning, because that makes sense, right? But that's not what a strategic person does. A strategic person begins at the end and works their way back. Always start with the desired outcome and work your way back. That way, every step in the process is aligned to where you want to be. It will ensure effectiveness, efficiency. It'll give you more flexibility, because here's the other thing. The reason why most people don't have strategies for their campaigns and their businesses is because they say it takes too much time and stuff. But when you actually have the roadmap on a piece of paper, it takes less time. So what I would advise is when you create your overall strategy, just keep it to one page. There's only 5 components, right? There's objectives, there's your audience, your messages, your channels, your metrics. Keep it simple. But then when you do your actual specific campaigns through the year, that's where you want the details. That's where you want to get into the weeds. But at the very least, keep the strategy on one page. Make it acceptable to the C-suite, because they don't want to see pages and pages of stuff. They just want to see one page. Number 2, relationships. I could spend a lot of time on this one. I know I don't have much time. Bottom line, this is my favorite mathematical equation, and the reason why it's my favorite because it contains no math. I just like saying it because it makes me feel smart. So here we go. The value of your network is equal to your net worth. So if you want your net worth to go up, the value of your network needs to go up. And what I'm talking about is relationships, building relationships. New relationships mean new opportunities and a new future. How do you build relationships? Trust. Keep in mind, who do people actually do business with? People do business with people they like. Guess who people like? People they trust, right? So going forward, I would like you to use in 2014 the internet, online communications as your lead, meaning I want you to start creating relationships online. Objective 2, move them to the phone, because now all of a sudden there's a voice behind this name I see on the screen. And number 3, the gold standard is now I want you to meet that person in person, because that's how human communications actually works, right? So the other key point here is I want you to demonstrate your value proposition, meaning, okay, I'm asking you now to go out and build meaningful strategic relationships with people to advance your brand and your company. But why would they want to create a relationship with you? And that's where you have to do the due diligence, the work, and to giving them a reason why they should connect with you, okay? So a couple tactics on building your reputation. Number 1, one of the most underused social media channels, in fact, most people don't even think it's a social media channel, LinkedIn. I have several people come to me, several marketers, and complain to me saying, Ken, I don't use LinkedIn, it's terrible, I tried to sell stuff on there. I can't sell anything. Don't do that. Here's something bought and sold on LinkedIn every single day: reputation. So if you want to build a professional reputation, that is the place to go. Number 2, every time I speak to a group, I ask them, how many here use LinkedIn? Everybody raises their hand, right? The real question is, how many people use LinkedIn? Because there's a difference. Good. If you just have a profile on LinkedIn, that doesn't mean you're using LinkedIn. That means you have a presence on LinkedIn. Just so you know that, right? Using LinkedIn means, for example, and this comes specifically to how to build your brand, I highly recommend using SlideShare on your LinkedIn profile. So, for example, there was a time where I was deputy speechwriter and deputy press secretary for the governor of New Jersey in 2005. So what I've done is, under that job entry on my LinkedIn account profile, I've actually posted publicly the speeches I wrote for the governor. But I did something else. At the end of the speech, I included the clips from how the New York Times published my work and handled it. How did the governor look when I wrote that speech? What was the result? What was the outcome? It's all right there. So what I've done is, in a quite quick manner, I've added a level of transparency. Why is transparency important? Because people like things and trust things that are transparent. So I'm not going to tell you I did a good job for the governor of New Jersey. I'm going to let you make the decision. It's up to you. People like that. Join group discussions on LinkedIn. Ask questions, more importantly, answer questions. I got a potential gig from LinkedIn a couple months ago. Was in a PR group, LinkedIn group. Someone said, look, I teach PR at a university, and I'm putting together a curriculum for undergraduate students. Here, what do you think? And I made a comment about it, saying how, it's all well and good, but one key point missing was the lack of interpersonal communications in the PR curriculum. And it led to someone else reading my profile and offering me a position for a university online course. So again, that job lead took me about 5-6 sentences to put together. So put forth, build your brand on LinkedIn. The second best way to do it is, and this is a really efficient way of doing it, create your own blog if you haven't done so. One of the issues with PR professionals and stuff is, we build other people's blogs, but we don't do one for ourselves. Highly recommend doing one for yourselves. And number 3, if you don't have time, because that's really the number one reason why PR and communication types don't do it for themselves, I'd ask you to look at meddle.it, meddle.it. It's a relatively new site. It kind of looks like a blog when you set it up. And you can feed in content, say, for example, things that you want to read, like social media, analytics, PR communications. Then you highlight parts of the story that you read, and then it gives you a box where you put in your own thoughts on the matter, and you publish it. So it's kind of like it's a way of showing your expertise and your value without doing all the legwork of creating your own blog. It's really neat. And you can share it with all kinds of different social media channels. It's pretty cool, actually. Number 3, content marketing. I mentioned before, it's getting back to the strategy. Recent research report, they asked B2B marketers, how many people are using content marketing this year? And this is where a lot of the marketing dollars are going, by the way. And 94% said, yes, we're going to be using a lot of content marketing. And then they said, well, all right, how many have a documented strategy for it? 44% said yes. I don't know what happened to those other half of those people. But again, strategy means take it from here, because when you have it up here, it's an idea. But when you put it on paper, it's actually a plan. Have a strategic plan. Content marketing to me really means how to attract customers as opposed to how to buy them. 2 quick strategies I've used for some time that have been helpful. Number 1, I think you'll be seeing more, you'll see an increased demand for real-time on-demand content. And I'm not talking specifically about crisis communications right now. I'm just talking about being proactive and being part of the conversation. So I refer to these as strike teams. I always have a couple individuals on my staff that are my strike team members, and that just basically means they're in charge of rapid response. So from a proactive stance, what that means is this: you can use social media channels to identify who the stakeholders are, the opinion leaders, and you can see what the conversations are right now. And conversations change from time to time, so you have to be fast about this. So we always have some evergreen content already made, so we can just identify what the conversation of the day is and weave our content and put our brand right into the conversation today, because it's going to change tomorrow, okay? So make sure you have some of that evergreen stuff that you can continue to interject in conversation as times go by. I'll give you an example. On the homepage of our webpage, we have a button that says Our Story. Okay, and so what I will do is I will go and look for conversations about, in our spaces, the unemployment, the economy, downsized professionals, and I will say something like this on Twitter: great story, now here's ours. Boom. Now all of a sudden, I'm in part of that, I'm talking to these people, I'm in that conversation, and the content's already created. Look for those types of opportunities. Real people, I've used this on different kinds of spaces. Real people are people who, for the most part, means people not on the payroll. or at least not in the C-suite. So for example, when you work for a transportation company and you know you need to improve customer service, instead of advising my CEO to wag his finger and tell our employees they need to do a better job, I will go out into the field and find the employees doing a great job at customer service and tell the story through them. That's the difference. So you want to, when you use a real people strategy, identify these real people and just have them tell the story for you. It's much more acceptable than if the CEO is saying, hey, you guys got to do a better job, blah, 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 blah. Visuals. All the reports tell us whether you add photos or videos, you dramatically increase your click-throughs. That's how you get eyeballs. It also is how you build credibility. Anytime you show someone a picture or video of something, it just adds a whole nother level. It makes it real, it makes it authentic, and people buy that kind of stuff. Manufacturing the news, how can you do that? Again, I gave you an example earlier. I can tell you all our media relations at our nonprofit are driven by in-house analytics. We have our own in-house analytics team. We constantly sell, if you will, our own information. So we help people get back into the workforce. They're called landings when you re-enter the workforce. So 6 months ago, we did a press release on our 800th person we've helped get back into the workforce. Another month we'll do it when it's the 900th. Last year we helped 2012, we helped 95 go back. This past year, 146, which is an increase of 54% in outcomes. So we're going to come out with that press release soon. These are kinds of numbers, metrics, analytics that you're already producing with your own company. So just take advantage of them and sell them. Again, it's one thing if I say, hey, you should do business with us because we're great, or I can give you a result that makes us look great. That goes much further. That's how you can manufacture the news. And again, you add much more credibility when you add a photo or video. Two types of video. There's a long form, which Steve does. You need a videographer. You need someone who knows editing skills. It's basically a story, typically. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can also do short form, and this is really catching on. This is kind of getting to the mainstream, more so in 2014. I really advise everyone to take a look at this and start using it in 2014. I tell my own members that the best way to look younger is to look current, and so if you're not on video in 2014, you're not looking current. So I highly recommend that. The neat thing about short form videos is there's Vine, it's 6-second videos. Instagram is 15-second videos. You don't need professional equipment or editing skills. It's already built into the platform. Somewhat limited, but you should be able to make a bang on a very cost-effective way. I'll give you a brief example. And this gets back to my strike team conversation. In November, it was quite clear, again, our nonprofit serves downsized professionals. We knew at the end of December, the federal government was going to cut its unemployment benefit, okay? And number two, we know January 1st begins the best job cycle of the year. The best time to get a job, most activity is January 1st to Memorial Day. So we knew these two we saw these trends coming, okay? So in November, we put together a 31-day YouTube campaign where we had one member, and we started publishing it this month, one day, one video every day we ran, one member showing a job search tip of the world, starting January 1st to the end of this month on YouTube and Vimeo. By January 2nd, I was invited to Washington, D.C. to sit down with President Obama's Secretary of Labor. He wants to talk to me about what we can do about solving long-term unemployment. So to put this in context, here I am leading a startup, no-name nonprofit, and now on January 8th, I was in DC counseling Obama's chief of labor about what he can do to fix this problem nationally. How did I do that? Video, number one, and number two, a relationship. Someone who saw my video campaign that we launched happened to be going to this meeting and said, hey, Ken, would you be interested in joining me in DC? It works, is what I'm saying. It works. And I'd be happy to take questions. I wanted to keep this really tight. Are there any questions out there about LinkedIn, any strategies? One thing I'd like you to do is in 2014, I would like everyone to create their own spreadsheet for relationships. And this is really the crux of what I'm talking about this morning. I want you to create your own strategic plan. I want you to use LinkedIn. I want you to find 5 people who can help you advance your own brand and or your company's brand and reach out to them. Make contact. How do you do that? LinkedIn. How do you start the conversation? Shared experiences. Shared experiences breed trust. That's why they want to connect with you, okay? Then bring them to the phone. How do you know that, what's the difference between having a business contact and having a business relationship? Here it is. And this all should be documented in the spreadsheet that you should create for yourself in 2014. If I call you and you answer my call, that means you're my contact. But at a later date, if you go out of your way and reach out to me and ask me for something, that means we have a relationship. That's how you differentiate the two. So a lot of people say, oh, Ken, don't worry about it. You know, I got a lot of contacts at that company. And I said, look, I don't want you to have contacts. I want you to have relationships. That's the next level. So please keep that in mind. Please do that for yourself in 2014. Any questions at all? Yes.
Okay, so I work for Witham Smith & Brown, Certified Public Accounting. In our industry, we're considered very aggressive when it comes to social media. We do a lot of stuff that's kind of out of the box for any professional services firm. So right now, in the past 4 years or so, we've become kind of famous in our industry with these videos that we've been doing. And this year, we unrolled our 4th major video that we've done in January, which kind of introduces this new campaign that we're doing with 40 additional Instagram videos that we put together. They're really funny. They're kind of celebratory in a way that we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. It's funny stuff, you know, dancing, partners getting hit in the face with pies by interns. It's really funny. People with like high pressure fans in their face, hysterical, but much like everything else we've done in a professional service firm, how do we get more engagement on Instagram? So, you know, how do we sell this to some of the more traditional people? How do we get more awareness of Instagram, get more people there? Do you have any suggestions about tagging, or do you have any insight you can share with Instagram, because it is, you know, fairly new in B2B for sure. Anything you can share?
My first question is, are the traditional people on Instagram?
They are. Many of them are now.
Because
we're doing, you know, the email campaigns, and luckily for us, we do have quite a bit of a following that we've created with our videos. So if we ask them to go on Instagram, they're there. But how do we just reach more people, I guess? It doesn't even need to be the CEO who will sign the contract. It's just, again, you know, reaching more people, brand awareness, connecting on another way.
Are you using hashtags and all that
We
kind of
are,
stuff?
right, yeah. Wondering if she's had any specific success stories.
Question in the back, something to add?
Just something to add to that. So on Instagram, right, you know, you use your hashtags and stuff, but you could also like photos of people using those same hashtags that you're interested in.
Right.
And depending on what your techniques are, there's actually bots that exist that you could put in like a text document of all the tags that you like and you want to use. And this bot will go out and like anybody talking about those same things on Instagram automatically every 5 minutes, every hour.
Can you share that with me later?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
And that's a way to, you know, usually when you like photos on Instagram, those people will generally follow you back.
Right.
And the more followers you have, the more audience you have.
Cool.
Bigger audience.
Another note about hashtags, there's a neat website, hashtagify.me. And if you go there, it'll tell you for free. This is a freemium service, a free service, and you can also pay for more in-depth information, but it'll tell you who's actually using these hashtags, which Twitter handles are using them. So, for example, if you want to attract the attention of the White House, you can find out that the White House uses hashtag jobs, for example. So if you want to get their attention, you know who is actually using these different hashtags if you're trying to get a specific audience.
What's the name of that site again?
Hashtagify, I think it's either .com or I think it maybe is .com, hashtagify.com, now that I say that.
Cool, thank you.
When you get LinkedIn invites for people you've never met, they probably know somebody who knows somebody, but do you automatically accept them? Do you reach out to them? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's two different schools of thought here. When I started on LinkedIn, I would only connect with people that I knew, but I've changed my mind. So I believe you need two strategies. One is about quality, and one's about quantity. One of the reasons why I'm an open networker now is because people can only see your profile if they're within 3 relationships of you on LinkedIn. So a lot of people assume, well, if I have my profile, then all 230 million people on LinkedIn can see and search for my profile. That's not actually true. So the more people you're connected with, the more people you have access to. So it's an access question. That's really why I do that, number one. Number two, look, if you're in PR and communications, you're in the people business. So you should be connected with people, I think. Any other questions? Sure.
It seems to be overwhelming with the amount of communications and outlets there are out there. What is your suggestion as far as building a strategy, the percentages of how much to put towards social, towards content? We have limited people and limited budget. We can't do it all. We can't do it all at once. So what are your thoughts as to where to start and then how to build it?
What is your...
As far as communications and kind of what to do. For instance, I work for Waterford Crystal. We are marketing our products to, end consumers. Do we start with social? What percentage of my time, of my creative, of my budget do I put towards communicating towards us end consumers with which handles? So, all of it's for social media, 30% towards content. Is it all happening at once? How do you kind of pull that strategy together?
Do you have a blog for does your company have a blog or no?
The company is starting to pull together new websites for each of the brands, and there will be content coming through those blogs, yes. But it hasn't gone live yet.
That's what I would suggest. I mean, use a hub and spoke strategy where your blog is the hub, and then just kick it out to the different social media channels. As far as how much you should allocate to certain things, it comes down to results. Try it and see how it works, and if it is productive, then do more of that, I would say. But it's really a lot of trial and error. Really.
It's hard when there is a limited budget and we have upper management who wants to see return immediately. So to do trial and error when you have limited budget and they have their own kind of agenda in mind, it's just getting to them and saying, no, we really have to pull this together. This is what other companies are doing. This is how we need to go forward, or this is where we feel. I mean, especially with Crystal in China, our consumers basically rise. And we're trying to get that younger demographic. How do you get someone to use a Waterford Crystal stem instead of a solo cup? And it's who do we reach and how do we get, and that's what we're facing. That's kind of where we are.
Pinterest.
And make sure are you putting in calls to action? Because you want to bring those people from following to actually purchasing.
And in there too, it's difficult because we are a retailer and a wholesaler. So our consumers are in Macy's, in Bloomingdale's, in Dillard's. For us to market ourselves to end consumers, Macy's wants us to send them to Macy's. Neiman's wants us to send them to Neiman's. So what we're trying to do is more of an educational push and product knowledge push, and then let them make the decision as to where to go. Because we can't favor one retailer over the other. We just have to give the consumer the information that they're looking for. So, you know, it's a difficult, you know, thing to pull together, a strategy to work on.
Send everybody to your outsourcing.
My
favorite store.
Just one quick takeaway. I mean, it gets back to image. One of the best ways to separate yourself from the rest is build your image. I mean, do people buy candy bars or do people buy candy bar wrappers? People think they buy candy bars, but they really buy candy bar wrappers, right? In the beginning, you buy the wrappers, the truth. Now, you'll come back because you try the candy bar and you like it. That brings you back. But the initial purchase is all about the wrapper. So that's really about packaging. So make sure you're doing what you can as a PR and communication professional to build out the packaging and the brand. That's what starts the whole process. Then you go from, you know, this notion of reach and you bring it down to impact, which is the bottom line. Any other questions? It's been great. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Let's keep the conversation going. Please connect with me online. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this program from the Jersey Shore Public Relations and Advertising Association. Visit jspraa.com for more information. This program is a production of StateBroadcastNews.com, a division of the Lubetkin Media Companies. For everyone at Jasper, this is Steve Lubetkin. Thank you for joining us and take good care.